Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. If you are new here, you're welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video. In today's video, we'll be learning how to draft a bustier top pattern with stylish keyhole neckline and a basque waistline. I got my inspiration from this dress right here and I just decided to make mine a top. So without further delay, let's get right into this video. I will be making use of this pattern fabrics and I have it in 1 yard here. So I will draft on brown paper first before cutting it out on my fabrics. This is the brown paper that I'll be using and I already folded it into 2 and I just want to draw a straight line across that will serve as our starting line. So when I'm done with that, I will take a measurement from my starting line to my breast point, which is 10 inches. I will make a mark there. Then I will proceed to measure out my under bust, which is 13 inches. I will also make a point, a mark, where I have 13 inches. Then I will go ahead and rule a straight line across my breast points and under bust. So after I'm done ruling lines across my breast points and under bust, I will just label it. As you can see, I already labeled my breast points, and when I'm done ruling the line on the under bust, then I also label it as my under bust. I will also measure out my waistline of 16 inches. I will make a point where I have my 16 inches. Then I will rule a straight line across and I will label it my waistline. Then I will rule a line that will serve as my top length. So now for my neckline, I will go in by 3 inches, and for the depth of my neckline, I will also go down and mark 3 inches. So guys, I already used my cuff rule to curve my neckline, as you can see. So the next thing I'm doing now is to mark out my shoulder measurement, and I'll be marking out 3.5 inches, as you can see. So when I'm done marking that out, I'll go down by 1 inch. Then I'll rule a line connecting that 1 inch to my neckline, and that will serve as my shoulder slope. So guys, for my armhole, I'll measure from my shoulder slope to my chest line, which is 7 inches for me. Then I'll rule a straight line across the 7 inches that I marked out, and that will serve as my chest line. Guys, to get your chest line is not difficult. Just divide your bust by 6, and whatever it is that you get, you add 1.5 inches. That is 1.5 to it. That is your chest line. So now I'll use my ruler to draw a straight line from my chest line to my shoulder slope. When I'm done doing that, I'll use my tape rule to measure from my shoulder slope to my chest line. Then I will divide it by 2, and whatever it is that I get, I'll make a mark at that point. From the midpoint where I marked, I'll go in by 1/2 inch. Then I'll also make a mark at that point. So now I will move to my chest line and I will take my bust measurement divided by 4 and mark it out on my chest line. So guys, the next thing I'm doing now is to connect these 3 points together that will serve as our armhole. So guys, I'm done drafting the armhole. Then I'll go ahead and label this line my chest line. So now guys, I will move to my breast point and I will mark out my nipple to nipple measurement on my breast point, on my under bust, and on my waistline. Some people also know this as bust pan. After that, I'll use my ruler to draw a straight line across those 3 points that I marked out. So now guys, I will extend the line that I have here to my top length. So the next thing I'm doing now is to move to my waistline and mark out 1/4 inch on both sides. Then I'll go ahead and use my ruler to join it together to my breast point. It is simple, just pay close attention guys. This will serve as our dart measurements. So now I will divide my shoulder by 2, and whatever it is that I get there, I will make a mark. That is, I will make a point at that place. After that, I will draw a straight line from the point that I marked on my shoulder. Then I will draw that line to connect to my breast point. So guys, for my neckline, I measured 8 inches, which is too deep for me. So for my new neckline now, I'll just go up from my chest line by 1/4 inch. You can go up, or if you like, you can go up by 3/4, you can go up by 1/2 inch, and you can even go up by 1 inch. It depends on how covered you want your top to be. But for me, from my chest line, I'll just go up by 3/4 inch and mark it out. I will draw a straight line across the point that I marked out. So guys, I'll move to my under bust line, and from the dart line I will go out by 1/4 inch on both sides. If you're of bigger size, that is if you are busty, you can go out by 1/2 inch on both sides. So now from the new point that I marked out, I'll use my ruler to draw a straight line across to the length of my top on both sides. So now I'll be making a curve from my under bust to my breast point on both sides, but I'll make sure that the curve is not too much because the clothes is just a simple top and it's not going to be padded. So from the new line that I generated earlier, I'm going to be marking out 1/2 inch on both sides, and when I'm done marking 1/2 inch on both sides, I'll make a curve from the point to my breast point. All this shaded place will be cut out. So now I want to measure and mark out my body measurement. On my chest line, I'll mark out my bust measurement divided by 4, and anything that I have, I'll make a mark on the point. So after that, I will measure the dart measurement that I have here, and I'm going to replace it back. I have 1/4 inch here as my dart, then I'm going to mark out 1/4 inch here. So after that, I will mark out 1.5 inches for stitches allowance. So now I'll move to my waistline and mark out my waist measurement divided by 4. So when I'm done marking that out, I'll go ahead and measure out my dart measurement, which is 1 inch. Then I'll replace the dart measurement by 1 inch, and I'll also mark out 1.5 inches for stitches allowance. Whatever measurement that I have on my waistline, I'll mark the same thing out on my top length. So now I will connect all the points together using my ruler. So now guys, for the keyhole, I'll go in by 1 inch. I'll mark it out, then I'll measure 4 inches from the 1 inch that I marked out. It all depends on how big or how small you want your keyhole to be. So don't forget, when you are marking yours out, make sure it's cut across this side. That is the other side of the bustier. So guys, from the first point that I marked out, I will measure 3 inches. That is, I will go up by 3 inches and make a mark there. So I will then draw my triangle with that 3 inches. I will rule the line for my triangle with the 3 inches that I measured. But guys, I noticed that my triangle will be so small and I don't want a small triangle. So I decided to add 1 inch to my triangle, and that makes my measurement to be 4 inches. So it is with the 4 inches that I draw my triangle. I'm trying to use my marker to trace out the triangle here to make it more visible. So guys, we are almost done with the drafting of the front piece. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to cut out this pattern. So guys, this is what we have after we are done cutting the pieces out. So now guys, for the back waist effect, I just used my hand to slant a line across from my waistline to the end of my pattern paper, as you can see my hand demonstrate. So after I'm done using this pattern paper to cut out my front piece, I will go ahead and cut the back waist effect off before I use this paper to cut out my back piece, because it is this same pattern paper that I'll be using to cut out my back piece. So now I've used my pattern paper to cut out my actual fabrics, and this is what I have after cutting it out. So now to cut out the back piece, I will be using my tape to join all the front piece together. So I will place both sides beside each other like this. I will make sure one is not on top of another. I will do it carefully. Guys, I decided to use my front piece to cut out my back piece because I don't have enough brown paper at home. So I decided to manage my brown paper. So I will place it beside each other, leaving no space. And I will make sure I'm very careful while at it, so that I will not place a piece on top of the other piece. So I'll be using my tape to join it together like this. For the yoke at the armhole area, you will discover that the yoke armhole is more than the basic body's armhole. Do not panic, just tape it together as you see me do, and watch me closely while I'm cutting it on the fabrics. So guys, I'll place my pattern paper on my fabrics and I'll go ahead to trace it out for my back piece. To cut off the back's effect from my waistline, I'll just use my scissors to trace it out. Just watch me closely as I'll cut off the back's effect. For my back piece neckline, I will go down by 1.5 inches and mark it out. So after that, I will just use my free hand to make a curve, then I will cut it off. So guys, this is what I have after I'm done cutting out the back piece. So now I'm done cutting out both the front piece and the back piece. I've also gone ahead to cut out their linings. So in the next tutorial, we'll be stitching them all together. So make sure you watch the next video when I upload it. If this tutorial is helpful, drop a comment in the comment section, and if you'll be trying this out, let me also know in the comment section. Guys, if you have not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your post notification bells to get notifications anytime I post new videos. See you in the next video, which is the stitching of this piece that we have drafted out. Bye.